Konnichiwa. My name is Rohit Prasad and I'm the founder of RSPinJAPAN. In today's video, I am going to teach you how to point out something in Japanese language. So let's begin. In today's video, I am going to teach you how to point out something in Japanese language. By this, I mean that I am going to teach you the concepts of ko, so, a, do. You must have learned that koko means here, soko means there, and asoko means somewhere over there. Now what happens here is that these you have or might have learned as a vocabulary, but there is more to it. In other words, I'm just saying that you have been learning it wrong. It's not just a simple vocabulary, but instead there is more to it. A concept that can actually help you to understand what it means. So now I'm going to begin by breaking down the words in two parts, which means I'm simply going to call them as first part and the second part. Now what I want you to understand here is that first part has its own significant role and so does the second one. Now here you have to learn or know that the first part actually denotes the position of the thing that you need to point out. And in this case, in Japanese language, we simply point out by using the characters ko, which is here, so, which is there, a, which is very far away, and then do, which is simply a question. Now, second part also has a significant meaning. The second part actually denotes the characteristics of what you are actually pointing out. For example, if you're pointing out a place, then you are using to use ko, and if you're going to point out something, it is going to be re. Now you can actually combine these two parts to form a vocab which will denote the position of the thing that you need to point out. Now I'm going to explain the first part in more details. So as I told you, first part can be used to denote the position using ko, so, a and do. Here ko, so and a are used for pointing out the location, but do is used when you want to ask some question. Let's take a situation. Here you have to understand that there are two people in every conversation, at least two people in every conversation. Let's just differentiate between the people talking by making one as the speaker and one as the listener. When something is near the speaker, then we use go. When something is away from the speaker but closer to listener, we use so. And when something is away from both the speaker and the listener, we use a. And as I said already, when you want to ask a question, you simply use do. Now moving on to the second part. The second part just denotes the characteristics of the thing that you're trying to point out. In other words, generally there are two. The first one is things. Things is denoted with re, and place is denoted by ko. Now here in places there is a simple exception, and you can memorize this one and only this one as a vocabulary. Here it's simply when something is far from the listener and speaker, you can actually call it as a, so, ko. Here you're not making it a and ko, but simply a, so, ko. So you're gonna learn this as a vocabulary. Now, as I explained, first part and the second parts can be combined together to make a meaningful word which actually means here, there, or something like that. From now on, you don't need to memorize these because it can be confusing. Also, it sounds similar. Koko, soko, asoko, kore, sore. Which one is where, you don't understand, or maybe you're confused, but from now on that's not going to be the case because you're going to understand the main concepts of it. Alright, so let's take a few examples. Let's take a scenario where a person goes to buy vegetables at a shop and there are vegetables set on a table, displayed on a table in fact. Now the speaker goes and asks the shopkeeper that he wants a apple. Now as you can see in the figure, apple is closer to the speaker. So he will say ko re to denote this apple. When he wants to say a vegetable, maybe a carrot, which is near to the shopkeeper, he is going to say so re. And let's talk about a vegetable that fell down. Now since it is far from both the shopkeeper and the speaker, so here speaker is going to use a re. Now with this you understood how to point out things using ko so ado. And now you need to understand how to point out places. So while pointing out places, the same rules are applicable. Let's take a scenario. You are standing at a mall and your friend needs to reach to you. Your friend is actually standing at a cafe near to the mall. Now you want to tell your friend that near your mall there is an ice cream stand and you want him to come here. So you will say Coco. If you want to point out the place where the listener is, which means if you're talking to your friend, you will say Soko. And if you guys are talking about or discussing about going to a restaurant which is far away from the place, you will simply say Asoko. So with this, I'm sure that you understood the concepts of Koso Ado, the very basic concepts of actually pointing out something. They are not simple vocabularies, but instead you have been learning it wrong. That's all. So please subscribe and stay updated.